When talking about unethical business choices, people typically think of one of two things: either the greed of the person or the character of the person. However, that typically doesn't matter because a lot of the time, unethical business choices are made by those who are just ordinary, everyday people. People like your coworkers, your friends, your family, your bosses, your neighbors. Any of those people could commit an unethical choice at any moment in their lives. Anyone can. They could be higher ups too, like CEOs, CFOs, stuff like that. So it's not just bound to those higher positions or those lower positions. It's anyone in the world that can make an unethical choice at any moment. But you also have to understand that ethics isn't just about the character and the morality of a person, but also about the context of that situation that they're in. And we'll get more into that later, but you have to understand that ethics don't just like disappear overnight. They kind of erode and fade away over a period of time of stress and anxiety and pressure. So all those things help make those unethical business choices, and we'll get deeper into that. When we think about someone that has made an unethical business choice, we typically view that person as a greedy person or corrupt or even just a bad person in general. And the reason that we do that is because we try to build a almost a moral disconnect between us and them. We like to say that, oh, well, if I was in this situation, I would have never done this. But that way of thinking isn't right. I mean, you can think like that, don't get me wrong. However, you have to think of it as like you don't know what you would do in that situation. Like you're oversimplifying it in a way that isn't feasible. Um and another thing you have to understand is that when you are in a scenario like that, you're not just waking up like, you know what? I want to go to federal prison tonight. That's what I'm going to do. No, that's not what you do. You wake up and you're like, okay, let's go to work. I got these deadlines coming up and stuff. Like, let's get this work done soon and not lose my job. um, but all these people that make these choices are justifying it in their head or even internally, like with their hearts and stuff. They they try to make it into a scenario that seems feasible. And these people don't view themselves as unethical by any means. These people think that they're doing the right thing. They think that they're good people still, and necessarily they are. Like they're not bad people by any means. They just made one mistake, and that's okay. Um, and bad people aren't the only reason why scandals happen. And if that was the truth, we would see the same scandals coming over and over and over again. And I mean, you do to an extent, but not really. Like we got the Enron scandal. That was a one of a kind thing. You got the WorldCom scandal. That was a one of a time thing. Like you have to understand that the scary part about ethics and business is that anyone can make them, including you. And that's what you really need to understand. It's very important to understand that pressure is what makes people commit unethical choices in business. Whether it's pressure from investors, higher ups like CEOs, CFOs, managers, supervisors, or even deadlines. Like you say, you have this, you got to get these documents filed and figured out by noon, and it's 11:50, and you haven't even started them. You're gonna start falsifying some stuff, and you're probably gonna either get fired or go to prison. But that's neither here nor there. Um, but a lot of people go into it fearing, like they fear that they're gonna lose their job, that they're gonna lose um their credibility as an employee if they don't get this stuff done on the right time. So that's why they start making those unethical choices. And a lot of people go into it. It's like, okay, we're gonna falsify these documents this one time, or you know, I have this spreadsheet due in 15 minutes. I haven't started it. Like, let's just make some stuff up and we'll just do it this one time and no one's gonna find out. Like, no, someone's gonna find out that someone's the SEC and you're gonna spend the next 8 years of your life in a maximum security white collar prison. So, you know, probably not the best ideas. Um, But you gotta understand, like, when your livelihood is on the line, your morality seems like a luxury. Like you don't care about your ethics or your morals at the time. You're more thinking of, well, I don't want to be homeless and I kind of want to keep my job. So I should probably just do this. Like it's fine. It's only going to happen this one time. No one's going to care. So you got to understand that pressure is really what builds the intent to be unethical while also people thinking of it like, oh, well, it's only a one time thing and it's never going to happen again. Another thing you have to acknowledge is the fact that ethics doesn't just disappear overnight. I said that earlier on in the video, but ethics is something that declines in small steps. It's a very gradual depletion. Um, so you go into your first case, I guess, of being unethical, and okay, I know I'm being unethical here, or maybe you don't, but you're doing something you're not supposed to. Um, and you're like, all right, this, I could get in trouble for this if I get caught. But you end up doing anyways, and you don't get caught. Your boss actually rewards you. He's happy with your accomplishment or your work. He's like, you know what, good job, keep it up. Um, and you let that get to you. So you eventually start falsifying documents or being more unethical, I guess, not just falsifying documents. Um, you do it more and more often to the point where you start to normalize it in your head, being like, all right, well, I'm sure other people are doing it. Like, why, why not I? If I keep doing it, maybe I'll get a promotion or, get a raise or something. So you have to understand that it's a very gradual process. It's not just something that's going to happen overnight. The more unethical the person, the longer they've been doing it. I do want to note that I'm not claiming to be immune to being unethical. Rather, I understand that anyone can be unethical at any moment, at any time. It doesn't necessarily have to be those higher ups, those CEOs, those CFOs, um, the top people at your accounting firm, the top people at your investment banking firm. Like, it's not just those higher ups. It's anyone. Anyone and everyone can be unethical. And I think I'm in a unique position, especially with my age. I mean, I'm 17 and I'm a college student. I'm in my freshman year. Um, and I think I'm just early enough into my career, my business career, of I understand the importance of ethics while getting ready to start my adventures. Like, I'm getting ready to start my first internship here soon, and ethics is literally everything to me. Like, I don't want to make an unethical decision because that could cost me everything, and I understand that, and that's what puts people ahead. So you have to understand that in order to avoid being unethical, awareness is the best defense to that. So becoming aware that, you might get in trouble for not getting this report done on time, but it's a hell of a lot better than going to prison for 8 years. I would take that trade off of getting yelled at than going to prison. So, you gotta pick your battles here. Ethics isn't just about labeling who's the bad guy, who's greedy, who has no character. Instead, it's more about creating a system for you and the people around you to help you give a sense of direction and integrity, to help you stray away from financial and mental harm. Because with ethics, it gives you a sense of what to do, why you do it. A lot of people would say, I don't want to go to jail, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but you got to ask yourself, it's like, why did this person act unethically? Why did they fail? But you can't just ask that question. You also have to ask, what environment were they in while making that decision? Because that has everything to do with it. If someone's making an unethical choice just because they felt like it, they're going to have issues down the road with their business career, whether it's financial, accounting, communications, management, anything. There's going to be issues later on in their career. However, if they're in a high intense pressure, say investment banking, and they're making an unethical choice, and there's a lot of pressure being put on them to get these deadlines down, and they decide to falsify something, or they decide to, I guess, fill it in with sponginess, essentially, inflating numbers more than they are, then while yes, that person did make an unethical choice, that doesn't mean they're an unethical person. That just means they made a mistake. And I have a lot higher hopes for that person that made a mistake in a high pressure, intense situation than the person that just did it for the fun of it. Like, I feel like it is very important to understand that, especially going into your professional careers if you haven't already, if you're a student like me, or if you're a new business owner, even. So, that's really something you got to think about. All in all, ethics is more than what meets the eye. It's not just the choices you make, but it's also the situation that you're in. It has everything to do with it, from the stress, the pressure, the higher ups that give you the task. That is what dictates the choice that you make. You have to ask yourself, if good people will make unethical choices under the right circumstances, then what circumstances are you willing to accept as a person?